Weekend edition of the Morning Wager coming at you. A lot to talk about. Army Navy, the NBA Cup, and an NFL best bet for Sunday. Plus, I am sure a rant from my broadcast colleague coming up momentarily here, Mark Zinno. Mark, 1-2 yesterday on the program. Kind of a difficult loss in college, which I know I'm going to give you the floor here in a bit to rant about because you told me you
We'll
wanted
just
to
hurry up
rant
and get
about it.
to it.
All right, well, rant then.
I kind of wish that every corn stalk in Iowa gets burned to the ground and never
It's uncalled for.
resurfaces. Uh, the Field of Dreams, I hope it never gets played upon again. I hope Ray Kinsella's dad never shows up, and I hope that farm gets burned to the ground. What happened last night to, or what Iowa did to themselves, was beyond comprehension. To the people who bought my package yesterday, I apologize. We had that thing in the bag. Iowa led for, what do we call it? Of a 40-minute basketball game, 20-minute halves. They led for 35 minutes. We're getting 6.5 points and somehow managed to lose by 9, because as soon as they got down by more than one basket, it was chuck a 3 foul, chuck a 3 foul, chuck a 3 foul. And Iowa State made pretty much every free throw they had to down the stretch. And that was a very annoying loss last night. And, I can't even call it a bad beat, because here's the thing about college basketball. You and I talked about this prior to the show starting. You know, those things are more susceptible in college than they are in the NBA, because they're kids, and they could just go big scoring droughts that they don't know how to stop. The NBA, those rarely happen. Like 5, 6, 7 minute scoring droughts really happen in the NBA. They happen in college a lot more for whatever reason. But yeah, just no excuse last night for Iowa not to cover that game. I mean, it's one thing for them not to win it and blow the lead. They were leading by close to double digits, close to 10 for a better part of the first half and into the second half. I knew Iowa State was going to make it close. Even in my write up, I acknowledge how good Iowa State was on both ends of the floor. It just, God, it's one of those freaking games that just makes you wonder why you do this. I mean, it really, really does. And Iowa, who's a terrible free throw shooting team, by the way, went 13 and 15. Like, everything went right. They shot nearly 40% from three. If you would have told me these before the game, that they were going to shoot 44% from the field, shoot 39.5% from three, and make 13 and 15 free throws, I would have said, here's a mortgage payment. Give me the Hawkeyes plus 6.5. And somehow, flat out, somehow, they just didn't. It's unreal. It's unreal.
People will come, Ray. People will come.
No,
All right.
no, I hope they don't show up. I don't want them
They're
to
not
show up.
showing up. They're not showing up.
I hope.
You're shoving everyone off the bleachers.
Yeah, that's fine. They can all choke on those hot dogs. Leave them there.
That's a terrible thing to say, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
No,
Anyway,
I'm not.
that's
I'm ashamed of the
Thursday.
Iowa Hawkeyes. Fran McCaffrey and the
We're
Iowa Hawkeyes basketball team is what I'm ashamed of.
That was, I believe he used to coach at Siena. Shout out to Adam Trigger, who
He did.
filled in for me
Yeah, shout out to
earlier in
Adam
the week.
Trigger. That's right. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, there we go. So I'm a broadcast professional. I'm coming on. Anyway, that was yesterday. We're looking ahead to the weekend on today's show. There is a ton, because obviously it is the first non-jam-packed college football Saturday in many months. Tomorrow there are 2 college football games, and you are talking about one of them. A game, dare I say, Mark Zinno, near and dear to your heart, as you
Very much.
have been on the battlefield before, unlike myself, who sat on the couch during their 20s. You, a proud member of the Army.
Listen,
You have shouted, I am sure. But you have shouted.
Drop
Yes,
out of
go
law
ahead.
school. That's what I fought for.
Yes, you did. You have shouted Bet Navy, I am sure, many times
Beat
in
Navy.
your life. Army,
Yes.
what did I say? Yes. Beat
Bet
Navy.
Navy.
Army.
Beat
Oh, Bet Navy. Yeah, Bet Navy. Yeah,
No.
what if I? Yeah, it's gambling. I don't know. It's early. Anyway. That was terrible.
Yes, it
Anyway,
was embarrassing.
Army and Navy, you're going to talk about this game. And you think there's a player prop, a unique angle you have uncovered, an angle that has hit in all but one Army game this season? your
To quote
comrade,
Tommy,
your your brother in arms, Bryson Daly. Am I allowed to call him your brother in arms? Is that an
no,
appropriate term?
right now he's a little peon, and he'll be a lieutenant soon. And guess what? I still outrank his ass, so he will call me sir. There you go. No, I'm kidding.
God.
Yes. No. To your point, I mean, Bryson Daly has been fantastic this year. Look, I mean, it's he's not going to win it, but it is a little bit surprising. Like he didn't even get into the Heisman conversation, given the fact that he's produced 29 touchdowns this year, which is the same number that Ashton Genty has produced, and more than Travis Hunter and more than Cam Ward. Like it's kind of just again, he's not going to win the thing, right? There's no reason he would ever win it. But what there is a legitimate conversation that he's one of the, most important and valuable players to his team. We're going to look a little bit different here. Look, I have my own take on the game itself. And you and I talked at the beginning of the week real quick, and I'll do this kind of quick little spiel on the game itself for those who are curious. This opened up at 7, and my first reaction to you was, oh, BP, if this hits 7.5, we have to play Navy. And you concurred. Well,
I
it
did.
never hit 7.5. In fact, it went in the other direction, down to 6.5. Now, let me explain why, and let me explain the recent trends here, because these are worth noting as I peruse my notes here. Where did they go? There it is. Last 17 of the last 18 games have gone under the total, but we haven't seen a total this high in about 8 or 9 years. 8 of the last 10 Army Navy games have been decided by one score. And Army has scored first in 10 of the last 11 meetings. So those are some of the recent trends. Again, at 6.5, it's hard to resist not betting Army, because they have been an absolute freaking wagon, a real wagon on offense. And I don't know that Navy could slow them down. So I lean Army, I lean the over. But what I'm going to look to here is something a little bit more simple. Bryson Daly, the Army quarterback, find an alternate touchdown market for him to score at least 2 touchdowns or over 1.5 touchdowns wherever you find it. Because if we look at all the games that Bryson Daly has played this year, he did not play in the Air Force game, so that one game is out. Because we remember that game. We bet that game, not knowing he was not going to play. He has scored at least 2 touchdowns in every single game but one. The second game of the year at FAU, when Army won 24-7. He threw a touchdown pass and did not rush for 2. BP, let's just run down. Against Lehigh, 2 rushing touchdowns. Rice, 3. Temple, 3. Tulsa, 2. UAB, 4. ECU, 5. North Texas, 2. Notre Dame, 2. UTSA, 2. Tulane, last week, 4. Oh, by the way, the 2 games where Army only scored 14 points on offense against North Texas, both rushing touchdowns, Bryson Daly. Against Notre Dame, both rushing touchdowns, Bryson Daly. Why overthink this, kids? If Army gets in the end zone, Bryson Daly's the guy getting him there. Are they going to score 2 touchdowns in this game? Yes. Are they more likely to score 3 or 4? Yes. Will Bryson Daly score at least 2 of those? Yes. Bryson Daly, 2 touchdowns, my half of the double play.
Not bet Navy, beat Navy, but you should
Navy,
bet
please.
Bryson Daly to score 2 touchdowns, says Mark Zinno. Smash that like button if you agree. Certainly not on par in importance with Army Navy is the Emirates Cup, but we are going to talk about the Emirates Cup, which the semifinals in the NBA tomorrow. Mark, we have both semifinal games. Oklahoma City and Houston is the Western Conference game. I'm going to talk about the Eastern Conference game between Atlanta and Milwaukee. My take is this number looks a bit short. The Bucks are a better team than the Hawks. I think everyone would concur on that. Basically, every metric, they're better. Of course, this is a neutral court game played in Vegas. Milwaukee did not cover its quarterfinal matchup at home, only winning by 5 as 8-point favorites against the banged up Orlando team. Atlanta went to MSG, and Trae Young did what he always does to the Knicks, beat them in MSG. Hawks win outright as 8-point underdogs. Both teams come in hot. Milwaukee has won 8 of its last 10. The Hawks have won 7 of their last 8. So maybe the number should be short. However, you look at that Hawks Knicks game from the other night. The game really, Mark, was decided by one run in the third quarter. The Hawks were losing in the first half, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden the game just turned on its head. Atlanta goes on an 11-0 run. It was Young that scored 8 of those points. I know you had the Trae Young over in that game and cashed. Good call there. But if not for that 11-0 run, the Hawks would have lost. They wouldn't have been here. Meanwhile, Milwaukee, it was a tight affair with Orlando. Orlando's a team that can still defend even without Wagner and Banchero. So they never could get up by margin, but they were never in danger of losing. So what do we have here? We have a rematch of a game from December 4th that the Hawks won 119-104. I think that motivates Milwaukee. That was a terrible spot for Milwaukee. Why was it a terrible spot? Second night of a back-to-back following a must-win at Detroit to qualify for the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup. You and I were breaking down the box score before the game. Atlanta dominated the glass in a way that is just almost unimaginable. They had 32 more field goal attempts than the Bucks when all was said and done. That is not happening again. Let's keep it simple here. The too long didn't listen version of this handicap is Milwaukee's simply a better team than Atlanta. I think after the slow start, they figured things out. I think they win by multiple possessions here against an Atlanta team that only gave up 100 points in its last game. Atlanta's not good defensively. They gave up 141 to Denver the game before that, 132 to the Lakers the game before that. I know they've been a little bit better defensively, over the last 10 games, but still, Milwaukee's the better team. They win. They advance to the finals of the NBA Cup. I say lay it. That is my half of the double play to go along with Mark Zinno's play on Bryson Daly to score 2 touchdowns, at least 2 touchdowns in the Army Navy game.
I hope you guys get in the comment section below and just write too long. BP didn't listen.
Your breakdown was longer. And then you had your write-up, and then you had
I
your
don't think.
rant about Iowa State and
I
Iowa.
don't. I don't.
That's probably,
I don't.
I'm going
I
to
don't think
talk
my
for
breakdown.
30 more seconds the entire show, probably.
Really?
Would you like to
Is that what you
botch?
think?
Would you like to botch the
Oh,
promotion segment again?
I wonder if
Would you
Dan. I
like
wonder if our
would
producer Dan Alexander saw that yesterday. That was hysterical. That was great.
would you like to
I went back and rewatched that so we could laugh at it over and over again. That was hysterical.
would you like to tell the people to buy something that is no longer available for sale today, sir?
You know what? I still can't understand why the bowl package that we had is closed before the bowls actually start. I mean, again, same correlation. If the game starts at 8 o'clock, I can walk up to the window at 7:59 and place a bet because the game
Here
hasn't started. If the bowls haven't started, the bowl package will still be available. That's all I'm saying. And nobody told me it was ending.
There's a slack. Rest of December, just $199. You can get it. You can go to my page right now, wt.buzz/pp. Pick that up. Rest of December. You can, and Mark Zinno, you can do whatever the hell you want with him. I don't know. Would you like me to
Again,
direct them to your page, wt.buzz/mz?
I still don't understand why the bowl package is not there.
Okay.
But
Um,
neither here nor there.
let's turn to the NFL for our show best bet here,
Sure,
as
let's
we
do that.
promised. By the way, I have a bit of a rant. If the 49ers, I wanted them to score a touchdown so bad and win that game 13-12. Do you think all the Neanderthals who criticized Dan Campbell the week before would have then gone on Twitter and apologized? No, they wouldn't have.
No.
I thought Sean McVay was wrong kicking the field goal. Sean McVay, I thought it was wrong. Fight me if you disagree. Should have gone for it on fourth down like Campbell did. Ice the game. Don't give the 49ers a chance. That's just me, though. Anyway, 49ers are dead. We're looking at the future. Yes?
Yeah.
Would you like
Yes, the
to
49ers.
comment on that or no?
No, my future on the Niners to win the division is dead. Completely dead.
Okay.
I thought I
Not
got so much
dead.
value on it when it was at even money. I did it like,
Nope.
week 6 or 7. And I got it at even money. I'm like, oh, this is a great price. Let's just jump on this. And they're not good. And starting Isaac Guerrero in fantasy last night was a bad decision.
The old Super Bowl loser curse strikes again. And we're talking about two teams that are.
Oh,
Hi.
yeah, there you go.
We're having
Jawan Jennings and Deebo Samuel did not have good nights either.
Boy, we're having some.
That's
the
true.
producer in my ear, a lot of fantasy football woes here that I'm hearing about in the headset. Colts and Broncos are two teams that are still alive. The Colts basically I guess the Colts can conceivably still get a wild card spot, but let's be honest, their best path is through the AFC South. Denver continues to surprise everybody. Bo Nix, 6-0 straight up and against the number to start his career as a favorite. He's laying 4.5 here to the Colts. Both teams are off buys. Oh, by the way, so no rest edge there. I've said it a couple weeks in a row. I've been wrong, Mark, that I think we're at the peak of the market with the Broncos. I think we're at the peak of the market with the Broncos. You and I like the Colts. Tell the people why. Show best
I
bet.
I tend to agree that we are at the peak of the market with the Broncos. But look, here's the thing. When I first saw this line, BP, like I couldn't get past how stinky it was. Right? Like there was something about this number that just reeked to me of something didn't feel right. Like if you go back and look at the Broncos and the numbers that they have been laying the last couple of weeks, right? They laid 6.5 at home to the Browns. They laid what did they lay to the? They laid 5.5 on the road to Las Vegas. They were a short underdog at home, I think, to Atlanta. No, they were a short favorite. I think it flipped. So and again, uh, when they're playing these like lower level teams, they end up covering. What were they against Carolina? I think they were a 12.5 point favorite, and they covered that game at home against pitiful Carolina. So to your point, they're able to beat up on these bad teams, but I don't know if the Colts are as bad as the Browns, Las Vegas, Atlanta, and Carolina, right? Like, despite the fact this is a dome team going outdoors, something just is off about this line. And I'm willing to roll the dice here with the Colts and take the points that off the bye, which, it's one of those things where Denver was rolling. They had 3 straight wins. It probably wasn't the best opportunity for a bye. Probably should have had 4 straight wins after that block, field goal from Kansas City. But they've been playing really well. I think it was a bad time for a bye. I think the bye hurts them. Consequently, the Colts have won 2 straight road games. Granted, they were against the Jets in New England. However, and had a lead late in the fourth quarter on the road against Minnesota in a game that they ended up blowing. And even the road game before that, guess what? Uh, they lost to the Texans by 3 and had a chance to win the game at the end there. And I think that was Anthony Richardson's last game before his injury or whatever it was before Flacco came in. So I say all this again to say that, yeah, I think the Colts keep this close, man. They've been a good road team all year long. They really have. Every single one of their road losses is by 1 score. I mean, they're all by 1 score, so they're going to keep this thing tight. We'll take the points. I blabbered on, but I was just going on and on about how I think the Colts. This is a weird number, and I like the Colts.
Bo Nix is the first rookie quarterback to start his career, pardon me, 6-0 straight up and against the spread as a favorite in the Super Bowl era. What's he going to start 7-0? Take the Colts. That's
Very
our
fair question.
show best bet. And that will do it here. What a weekend it is going to be.
Go Army.
Start of bowl season. South
Maybe.
Alabama and Western Michigan. What a way to start bowl season. The Salute to Veterans Bowl. Very interesting. There's a Salute to Veterans Bowl the same day as Army Navy.
They're just trying to make money off the whole thing. That's all it is. It's just
I salute
taking
you,
money.
sir.
Well, thank you. It feels good to be saluted.
Bryson Daly will be saluting you sometime soon. Hopefully, we'll be saluting him when he gets into the end zone twice on Saturday. Just to recap, Mark liked Bryson Daly to score 2 touchdowns against Navy. I like the Milwaukee Bucks to win by at least 4 against the Atlanta Hawks. We both like the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday to cover against Denver. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want. Just please continue your support of the Morning Wager. And we will be back with you on Monday. Until next time, let's cash the tickets.